Welcome back, everyone, to the Natasha Effect. I'm the host, Natasha Sudsbury, and my mission here is to change perspectives one conversation at a time. And today I'm here with Laura LaRue with Lulu Liquor Cakes, and I'm super excited to hear about her personal and professional journey. And so hopefully y'all are excited about that too. So I'll let you take it away and go ahead and introduce yourself to how you would introduce to other people that don't really know you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Hey everyone, I'm Laura. I own Lulu Liquor Cakes, founded here in Knoxville, Tennessee. A lot of people ask what we are. Yes, we actually are cakes with liquor in them. Our cakes are 3% ABV, and we ship nationwide. They come in cute little 8-ounce jars. They're perfect for gifting parties, everything. And we're just over here killing it.
Yeah, you are. I
So.
see y'all
uh,
look busy.
I guess I should kind of tell you like we do a lot of flavors based off of like cocktails, So like we have like our strawberry margarita that has tequila in it. We have a pineapple upside down with rum, but we do like we've done a Paloma or an Aperol Spritz, or we'll do like a red velvet martini or a chocolate martini.
Ooh,
So
that
like
sounds good.
we come up with unique creative. Yeah, we'll do like unique creative flavors, and then we'll also just kind of do some cocktail mimics. We actually have a red sangria that's coming out the first week in November, so we're excited for that one. But
Ooh.
all kinds of crazy flavors, not things you're going to typically find in cake. That's kind of
That's
our
true. Some of the
specialty is our
flavors,
special flavors.
yeah, some of them I read and I'm like, I don't know. But then it ended up, I think I told you it ended up tasting really good, the ones that I've tried. But now that y'all know a little bit about Laura and the cool project and business that she's working on, which is, you heard her right, liquor and cake, two great things that go together. I kind of want to start with some rapid fire questions to like loosen up and help them get to know you on a personal level. So just say kind of what first comes to your mind.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think I know the answer to this one, but coffee or bourbon?
Oh, definitely bourbon.
I knew the answer. What is your current obsession right now? It could be anything.
Oh, I would say my current obsession is traveling. I love to just get away, even if it's just a quick trip for a day or a weekend.
I love
It
a
doesn't even have to be
staycation.
elaborate. Yes. Yeah,
Um,
those are amazing too.
yeah, like you're local, but not. We just went so like 3 hours south to West Palm Beach the past weekend because Lewis had a residency thing for his mental health program. So that was a little bit of a staycation.
Yeah,
Um,
that's nice.
it was good to get away for the weekend. Let's see. What is your dream collab or partnership? Like, who would you love to work with?
Oh,
So that's a hard one.
I don't know. Yeah, because I'll be honest, I don't really watch news. I don't really watch TV. So I'm not like one of those like follow people type of
Yeah.
I really don't know. That's a tough question for me. I would say
We'll
just,
circle back.
I don't know. I really don't know. That's a tough question for me. I would say
We'll
just,
circle back.
I don't know.
All right.
I could think of Matt Rife off the top
Oh,
of my
he
head.
would love it too, I think.
Yeah, was watching some of his reels this morning, laying in bed. So he comes top of my head. He's hysterical.
He's so funny. His crowd work is amazing. To just be able to
Yeah,
think so like quick like that is crazy. Um, and
yeah.
then we'll just wrap up those questions with what is your favorite flavor that you've ever made? Doesn't necessarily have to be one of your signature.
Key lime pie.
Ooh,
That's
that sounds
I
good.
love key lime pie, and so like that one's my absolute favorite.
She said no one's ever gonna pass that one. What is your because you have your, is it four signature flavors, right? Your
Mhm.
What's your
Yep.
favorite one of those ones?
Um, Definitely the bourbon vanilla. And that's by far our biggest selling one. We call them our fan favorites. And
Oh,
so it's the pineapple upside down with rum, the strawberry margarita tequila, the bourbon vanilla, and the mudslide with Oreos. That one has Irish cream and vodka. And out of those four, my favorite's definitely the bourbon, but I'm a bourbon drinker. And I think it's a lot of the customers like favorite because bourbon has a stronger profile taste. It's a very unique,
yeah, it is.
palate. And so it's kind of funny to us because people will be like, I don't taste any liquor in the mudslide, or I don't taste any liquor in the pineapple upside down. But it's like, I promise you, they all have the exact same amount of liquor. It's just that
Depends.
bourbon hits. It's got that on your palate, rum and vodka, like those are, I like to call those like the silent liquors.
Oh,
Like if you ever go to a bar, right, and you get a drink and you get something with vodka or rum and then they add all the sweet shit to it and you're just like, I don't taste any liquor, but four drinks later you stand up and you can barely go to
that's
the
how
bathroom. So I call those silent.
one of my favorite drinks is a mojito, and it's usually white rum. And that's how I feel
Mhm.
whenever I have mojitos because it's so refreshing and delicious. And then you stand up and you're like, oh, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, and then it hits you. I know.
Like
But like if you
yesterday,
get a drink with like a tequila or a bourbon or a whiskey, you taste it.
yeah, well, for sure. You can't really chug those.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk more about so liquor and cake, and I'm sure everyone else is wondering, how did you come up with such a thing?
It's always a fun story to tell. So my girlfriends and I were day drinking. We had a day drinking day planned. We were actually going to go to a twerk yoga class here in
What is
Knoxville.
twerk
Who
yoga?
she's at work
Oh,
yoga,
twerk yoga.
work.
Oh,
Work yoga.
okay.
So she's actually a friend of mine. We became friends after like her first one. I was like, this is the shit. She lives in Nashville and she was coming here and kind of like touring around in areas. And she had a DJ Sam. He actually lives there in Florida. Love his music. And this was like right before COVID happened.
Oh, wow.
So it was, when everything was still, people were out and going and stuff. But yeah, she had a DJ and she came here and she was having the class at the gym facility where me and all my girlfriends worked out at. And so we went to this Saturday twerk yoga class and then we planned to go drinking afterward. And I like to be extra like when it comes to entertaining. So I was like, well, if we're going to make this whole day of it, I'm going to go ahead and make cupcakes with a shot of alcohol in them. So like I made cupcakes, but I had this mold for making shot glasses, like edible shot glasses or ice shot glasses.
Yeah.
And I did it with chocolate. And I put that chocolate shot glass in the middle of the cupcake and filled it with the liquor. So we actually like were standing in the parking lot before we went into the restaurant to go drinking. And we were trying to drink these shots out of the cupcake in the middle, and it was so messy. And we were
That
laughing and stuff.
sounds
And I was like,
crazy.
it was fun. It was fun. But I was like, it was like frosting was all over us. The liquor is like running all down us. And I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna try and do it in the cupcakes next time. So I started like working on it at home and messing around with the recipe and trying to like get it because I wanted it to be like content in it. I didn't want it to be just like, saying there's liquor in it. I actually
Yeah.
wanted liquor in it. So I started really experimenting and trying and I came down with a recipe that I was satisfied with. And our next get together, I took the cupcakes and my girlfriends were all like, this is amazing. Like, you need to sell these. And I was like, nah, I was a paralegal at the time. I worked at a full time corporate job. And I was like, no, whatever. And they were like, you really should. So I started just out of curiosity posting them like on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
I went on Amazon. I bought these cute little jars. Somewhere I've got photos still of the tiny little jars I used to put them in off of Amazon. And I would buy like 25 jars or whatever it was, the smallest amount. And so I started putting those on Facebook Marketplace, and here and there I would get people who would want to meet up and buy some from me. And I started, just out of fun, like craft stuff, like with
Mhm.
food. I seen a big thing was happening with those like chocolate stiletto shoes. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
those
yeah.
where they make like, and then they fill them with like the chocolate covered berries. So I was like, that looks fun. I bought the molds and I started messing around that, post that, some photos. Well, a now dear friend of mine, Kendra is her name, seen the photo and she reached out to me and she's like, "Hey, I'm putting on," it was called like a shoe event, and it was a badass event. And it was like she rented a local event center and it was like they roll out the red carpet and there's a DJ and you wore like your best shoes and there was all kinds of different shoe categories and they had judges and like they literally judged your shoes and you would win based off like that category for your shoes.
Wow.
So she was like, "I'm putting on this event. Do you want to be a vendor?" I was like, "Yeah, that'd be actually really cool, you know?" And she was like, "Cool. If you make me your chocolate stiletto shoe thing with my logo for my event, I will give you a vendor booth for free." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then she's like, "I need your business name, I need your logo." And I was like, "I don't have any of that. Like, I literally just am putting this stuff on Facebook Marketplace."
It's just
So
me.
I was texting my girlfriend. Yeah. So I was texting my girlfriends in our group chat and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go do this." And she wants a business name and a logo. And they're like, "Okay, well, we got this." So my friends and I, like, we went back and forth. My one friend designed my original first logo, which is this one behind me. That's the original first logo.
Wow.
She designed that for me on her phone. And like, so that's the logo I sent to Kendra. And then we came up with Lulu Liquor Cakes because Lulu is what a lot of people call me because my name is Laura LaRue. So my husband always would just call me Lulu, and it just kind of caught on. All my friends would call me Lulu. So that's where we came up with it. Um, so I sent that stuff to Kendra, and I made 100 of my jars, took them in the cooler to her event. My husband went with me and helped me, and we sold almost all of them at that event. And after that, the word just started spreading like wildfire, and that was like then it within 3 months, it had grown like really quickly. And then COVID had happened and shut down. And so we were seeing a lot of like food truck scene happening where food trucks were going into the neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we had like this little micro vans that my husband had bought. And he was like, "Why don't we turn one of those into a food truck for you?" And I was like, "Okay." So
Sure.
he did. I know. I was like, whatever. So he turned it into. He got one of them running, and then he painted it and did it. And we got the logo put on there and everything, and it kind of looks like a little ice cream truck. You know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so we put a freezer in the back of it, put the cakes in it, and started setting up at neighborhoods and all during COVID. And then once that, uplifted food truck parks and all that, and it just kept growing. I think the whole COVID scene with the food truck is what really got our name out there,
Yeah,
all
for
around
sure.
town. Yeah. So, and once COVID lifted, then we were doing like events and corporate, companies would have us come out and set up to like their employees and stuff. Um, and then we ended up, once COVID kind of uplifted and food truck scene wasn't really a thing anymore, we bought our building that we're in now. And that's when we started getting into shipping. And so,
That's crazy.
um, we had a social influencer, Mama Tot, Ophelia Nichols, who, when her son had first been like murdered and all of that was happening, that's when she really became viral and social. And my daughter had come to me. I have 5 kids, and my daughter and I were running the business together. And she had come to me and she was like, "Mom, like this woman I follow on TikTok." I didn't even know what TikTok was at the time. Let me just tell you that. Okay. I I didn't know I didn't
That's
even know we
so
had a business
funny.
TikTok. My daughter was like the one that set up this business TikTok page, and I didn't know nothing about it. And I was like, "Wait, what is TikTok?" And she was like, "It's this whole platform like Facebook and stuff." And I'm totally telling my age here. And she was like, "I follow her, and her son was murdered." And I was like, "That's horrible." And I was, like, "Let's send her some cakes just to like uplift her." And I wrote her this long letter and was like, "I'm so
Yeah.
sorry for your loss," just like the whole thing of as a mother to a mother. And I had no idea what TikTok was. I had no idea the power of TikTok. I had no idea the power of an influencer on TikTok. And it turns out when she got those cakes, she posted about our cakes on
Yeah.
all of her platform. And um and I actually, my daughter and I had gotten home from this store from working that day. And our storefront was open. We had, at that time, I would say we maybe shipped like 20 to 30 orders a week were what we actually shipped. Like our business
Mhm.
was primarily like the storefront and the locals, and it was, not gonna lie, it was a struggle. Like I was freaking out. I had bought this building and had this mortgage I now carried. Like it was no longer just a home mortgage we had. We now had a
Yeah.
mortgage on our, like my business that I quit my job to do. So it was really scary. I was freaking out because the money wasn't like, it was like barely making it. And we got home. I got home that day. I was cooking dinner for the other kids, and my phone just started going off like crazy, like just on my Shopify. Like it was just ding, 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 ding. And I was like, oh my God. And I was freaking out because literally 1 month before this happened, our website had got hacked, or my Shopify
Oh
had got
no.
hacked. And somebody was like using stolen credit card and placing orders for like $10,000. And I was like, what
Jesus.
the hell? Like, we don't even have that inventory. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And and then they had gone in and they had changed my banking information in my Shopify. So the payouts was going to their bank. And so they were using stolen credit card to make these purchases and then putting the money into their bank account. So I was not only losing
Wow.
like all of that, but I was losing my actual orders that were coming in because they had changed the banking.
The
It was a
payout. That's
huge,
crazy.
huge disaster. So that had happened just a month before. So when I get home and my phone's going off like crazy,
You
I'm
got
freaking out thinking we
scared.
got
Yeah.
hacked again. Yes, I was like, we've been hacked again. And so I was blowing up my daughter, and she was in the movie theater with her boyfriend, and she finally like is
This
like,
poor
"Mom,
girl.
stop. I'm at the movie." I know. She's like, "I'm at the movie theater." She was like, "I will check into it and when I get done with the movie." I was like, "Okay." Ends up calling me. I guess she herself was like worried and she couldn't resist looking while she was in the movie theater. She ends up calling me like just a few minutes later, and she's like, "Oh my God, Mama Tot posted a video on TikTok eating our cakes." And I was like, "Who?" And she was like, "The mom that you sent the cakes to, that her son was murdered." And I was like, "Oh, that's why we're blowing up like this?" And she's like, "Mom, we're
Wow.
going viral." And I was like, "What? What is that?" And so she sends me the video, and I watched the video on like her Facebook page and her TikTok, and I'm like, "Oh my God." And so my husband was like, I was laying in bed. This was like late at night, and I'm laying in bed, and my husband's like, I was gonna like shut it down to where like I didn't have that inventory. I didn't have those cakes. And
Yeah.
I was gonna like put that they were sold out because I was like, we like there's no way we can make all this cake. And my husband was like, don't do it. Leave it alone. Let it run. And then all the messages start flowing into my phone. My friends are texting me and they're like, don't shut it down because they saw the video and they saw it was going viral. And I was like, oh my God. And they're like, we'll come help you. Don't like let it go. And so I didn't shut it down. And those orders were coming in insane. And
Wow.
I didn't have enough boxes to even ship these orders. Like we made the cake happen. Like that was no problem. We were able to handle that. But um, I was on Uline where I bought my boxes from, and I was like trying to order more to get these because this was August. This is like summer heat, mind you. And so
Yeah.
you're talking we didn't have ice packs. We didn't have none of that stuff. So it was really crazy. It was insane. But I was really proud of ourselves because we were only behind about 2 weeks. By 2 weeks, we had everything out the door. And you're talking
Wow.
400 or 500 orders a day were
That's
coming
insane.
in
Going
a
from, what did
day.
you say, 30
Um,
a week or so to,
like 30 a week if we were
wow.
lucky. Yeah, to 300 to 400 a day. Or
So you
excuse me, four
really,
to 500 a day.
you really experienced like the power of social media then. That's
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
insane. Like
Yeah. But
even the number jump
what
is
I,
crazy.
yeah. Well, and what a lot of people don't realize though, that I also learn is so like you see that number jump, but as quickly as those numbers jump,
They go down.
if you have no clue what you're doing, they go down. Yeah. And like I didn't have a marketing team. I didn't have somebody who we weren't running Facebook ads at the time. Like we weren't doing anything but just flinging cakes out the front door, you know? So like we didn't know about all of that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until, months later that I ended up hiring like a business consulting team and they came in and then they started like taking that video and turning that into Facebook ads and running ads. And then that's where we like regained traction. But it was after that moment that I realized the power of influencers. Um, and that's when we started like really kind of focusing on sending cakes out to influencers. And that's where
100%.
we kind of just regained that traction. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
had no
really
clue.
is crazy the power that the influencers do carry. And sometimes I don't even feel like they realize, you know, who or what they're supporting sometimes. Because when she posted that video, she
Mhm.
probably didn't have any idea. She just knows she got some cakes and they tasted good and she blew your business up. That's amazing. And
100% true.
all the lessons you had but I bet you're glad you didn't quit. I bet you're glad you didn't click sold out. So as much
Oh,
as it
I'm
sucked,
so glad
I
I
bet
took
you're
that
so
advice.
glad that they talked you out of it because could you
Yeah,
imagine what like how different it could be if you had done that? Like do you ever think about that?
yeah,
That's
I
wild.
do think about that. I do think that, we wouldn't have had all those customers, we wouldn't have grown. We would not have grown. I would have really been kicking myself in the ass for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at the same
And
time you don't know
the
either.
yeah, at the same time you don't know, you don't. Um, I guess the way I look at it is if the outcome had the outcome been different had I done that, it just would have been I wouldn't have grown my business, I wouldn't have made that
Yeah.
money. I would have lost that opportunity, so it's just kind of like nothing bad came out of rolling with it and letting it happen, but bad would have came out of if I hadn't have done that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am.
It's good that you had
Yeah, I
people
would
in
have
your
lost that
corner.
because
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because you don't realize when that door opens, if you don't walk in that door shuts, you don't know if you're going to get that door open to you again.
100%.
The
Yeah.
power of Mama Tot and her influence and her post. If I hadn't taken up on that,
And it's
that would have been
it's
crazy.
crazy because that wasn't even your intention. Your intention was, I want to send you
Mm-mm.
cake as a mom. Like, let me see if this
Yeah,
will help you. And so I think that speaks
yeah,
on even character. Like, just doing the right thing sometimes can open doors for you. And so
yeah.
it's wild to me that you had no idea what social media was or anything, and that's how you like blew up.
Yeah, I was on Facebook and I was on Instagram. I didn't even run those. My daughter ran those. Like, it just, she was the one that was like, Mom, we need to do this. She ran all of that. Now, I mean, I really didn't have, when I very first created a Facebook, it was because my mother was like, Hey, Facebook is a thing and go create a profile so I can see pictures of my grandkids. And I was like, what?
Okay.
That's the only reason why I even created a Facebook. I didn't even know
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, so some of us are just not into all that social stuff, but it
True.
has proven how important it is in this world today and for businesses, you know.
Especially like brand new businesses trying to get their name out and things like that. Um, I think people really underestimate the power of social media a lot of the time. They think that
Yeah.
even with me, that people think, oh, you're always on your phone, you're always doing this. I'm doing business. I don't know what you're doing on your phone, but I'm running a business. I'm running a group. I'm running a
Hmm.
podcast. I have to be on my phone. And so
Hmm.
that's just the reality of business right now. So
It is. It is. Yeah, I know. When I've had like when we've had our ups and downs and we're going through like harder times with slower sales or whatever, like I've had some in between times with like going through business consultants who took advantage and almost made me close my doors to then go into a new marketing team and then a marketing team. It's not easy, but when you're going through all those struggles and you're trying to just survive, I would find myself then knowing that power of social and the influencers. I literally would spend hours upon hours just scrolling TikTok and watching videos and finding people that I thought would be good fit to send cakes
Yeah.
to share about. And it paid off. And as much as I hated it and that, like having to sit there and spend all those hours on my phone on TikTok every night, like religiously, it finally show people in my feed that would be like One Big Pikey, Dave and Dewey. We sent cakes to them 2 years ago in an October, and it was my daughter hated me for that. Um, they both posted like the same damn day, and you never know. Like the way we would do it, we would never know if somebody's going to post. We would just send
Yeah.
cakes after the whole Mama Tot thing. We would just send cakes, and hey, enjoy these, and some would hit, some wouldn't, some would post, some wouldn't. But One Big Pikey and Dave and Dewey were big influencers, and they posted, and the videos went viral. And my husband and I were going on a cruise. It was like the first time we got away on a vacation in like years. And I didn't know they were going to go post these videos and they were going to go viral. I was just sending cakes out after hours and hours every night on TikTok, finding people.
Yeah.
And those two particular ones posted. And we were off on a cruise and sales were just coming in through the roof. And my daughter is like freaking out, like,
Oh
what are
my
we supposed to
God.
do? Yeah. And we were gone for a week. And so it was like I
She
was
had to hold
panicking
it
on the cruise.
down.
I couldn't even really enjoy it. Yeah. So, you know, it once I realized the power of it, but you spend a lot of time on your phone as an entrepreneur, as a small business, because that's where everything is now.
And honestly, I think the worst part is like when you have kids, it's like you feel like you're taking away from that. And that kind of leads into something that you said that really spoke to me was someone told you you couldn't be both a mom and a professional. So kind of talk more on that a little
Hmm.
bit. Like what was that
Yeah.
in relation to?
Yeah. I love talking about this because I feel like I don't know. I feel like women don't get a lot of the respect they deserve for what they handle. And I'll just this is a sidestep real quick to that before I get to it. Prime example is this morning as I'm walking out the door to come here and do this, and I've got a delivery coming in about 45 minutes for my jars today. I'm like thinking in my head, I'm already preparing for dinner for tonight for my kids. I'm already thinking I need to start laundry. And my husband, he gets up and he'll probably see this later and be like, what the fuck, Laura? But he literally gets up and walks out the damn door to go to his job, okay, because he owns his own business. I get up and I'm like running down the stairs starting a load of laundry, and I'm like making sure everything is ready for the kids and the dogs have had their pills. And like we do so much more, I feel like moms do, women do. But when I worked at the corporate job before I started this business, I was there for 14 years and I had two children at the time. And my husband and I ended up taking emergency custody of my three nephews. And it was a huge whole legal process. And the youngest was 6 months old, and the other two were toddlers. They were 3 and 4 years old.
Oh, bless you for
Those two
that.
are 8 months apart. 8 months apart, those two. So we took them in. And when that happened, my boss had actually pulled me into his office and was like, I'm concerned that you're not going to be able to perform your duties here because you have more kids coming in your
Oh
home,
God.
and I'm concerned you're not going to be able to work the hours I want you to work. And in other words, like you're not going to be staying late, coming in early. It was like it really hit me. Like I was pissed, and
Mhm.
because I already felt underpaid as it was for what I did. always was a really good performer. I was a paralegal, so it was like there was never an issue with my work. And I always stayed when I needed. I managed my family life, my mother life, my wife life, and my work life quite well. And so for him to come to me and tell me, well, I'm not going to like do the bonus system for you because I don't think you're going to be, giving me what I need while you're taking on additional kids in your home and the hours and all this. And I was really pissed.
Yeah.
You know, which it ended up really proving to him that it was never an issue. It was never an issue. In fact, I would be the one that was handling way more than the ones who didn't have, like the men who, their wives stayed home with their kids and, or like the women that didn't have kids that were older. Um, so I definitely went through that, and then proved even more when I end up leaving, to run my own business.
Yeah, and
And,
just yeah, I was just gonna say how you were talking about this morning. That was even me this morning, and Lewis will probably watch it and be like, Natasha, but it's true. It's like I feel like so even this morning I got up, I cleaned the entire everything because it was just a shit show down here. I fed Ezra breakfast, got him ready, and then Lewis got him dressed, got himself dressed, and walked out the door to the gym while I'm getting ready for this. I started laundry, all
yeah.
that stuff. But it just goes to say, like, entrepreneurs not only don't ever clock out, but moms don't ever clock out. So it's even when we don't have business shit going on, we got to go to the other 24/7 job, which is being a
Yeah.
mom. Whereas I feel like, and I hate to say it like this, but I do feel like dads get to clock out, whereas
Hmm.
moms don't really get that luxury. Not to say that,
Hmm.
because Lewis is a great dad, he's very present, but it is very different than being a mom. And so,
Hmm. The roles are different. The roles are very
100%.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't
Y-
believe, oh, I hate that. That's one thing I hate about 9 to 5s. They just assume like the kids topic makes you less than. Even when like I work
hmm.
in very male dominated field in the army, and a lot of even now sometimes my superiors will say to me, they'll ask me questions about maternity leave and all of these things because they don't even know. The fact that they don't know
Hmm.
how long a soldier can take for maternity leave is probably problematic. Like,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I think
crazy.
men just have, if men could have a baby, they could probably understand more,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just, I've always said that, like, men are great dads. There are great dads out there. My husband's a great dad.
yeah,
I mean, fuck, he has taken on only one child of ours is actually like his, the other four are like my daughter from before I met him, and then my nephews, and he's
yeah,
adopted every single one of them and he's treated them all, an amazing dad. But it is, their roles are just different and they don't, I just feel like the men don't quite have that bond that a mom has to, and I think they're built differently that like, you know, even though it seems like a lot of people say like the roles have been switched nowadays where like
yeah,
the men are staying home, the dads are staying home and doing those things. But I still feel like they're just wired differently. Their duties are differently. They're not
well,
quite men don't think the way women do with like the whole multitasking process of knowing like the work and the kids and like it doesn't stop,
yeah.
you
It
know?
comes down to like even our hormones are just different. We're biologically different, so we're wired to think different. Even
Yeah.
just for a basic example, women get their oxytocin from like cuddling and hugging their child. Like that's how they feel that. But men and a child, they get their oxytocin from like rough playing and play fighting. And it's the same bond,
Hmm.
but very different activities. And so it's
Hmm.
just like you said, if men could have a baby, then yeah, they might be able to understand that. And I feel like that way, even with other women, like women that don't have kids, I feel
Hmm.
like no matter how much you try and understand, until you have a kid, you won't understand. And I mean, I
Hmm.
experienced that. I my younger sister had kids before I did, and I always thought I understood, but I did not until I had my own.
Yeah.
And so it's very different
Yeah.
when you're experiencing it
Yeah.
firsthand. So shout out to all the mom
Very true.
entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah, because we know. We know how tired you are, okay?
You're
We
not
know you just want to go
alone.
hide in the bathroom.
You're not alone. We'll promise that.
Uh-uh.
Do you still feel that pressure with the motherhood and the entrepreneurship? Do you feel it as much now, or has it kind of been better? Or, of course, because you're running your own business.
Well, my kids are older now, so my daughter's 27. She's gone off to Nashville, got married, and she's always wanted to be in the medical field, so she's doing her thing. My oldest son is 22. He's in the Marine Corps. So he's only home on leave or 96. And then the younger ones, my sons are 15, 14, and 12. So they're older. So
Yeah,
I do find the older they get, the easier my life gets. Mainly, I mean, because I can tell you right now, we have had a lot of family dinners in this kitchen, like in my commercial kitchen. Like we will, I'll have been in here from sun up to sundown,
yeah,
and when they get home from school and my husband brings them over, I'm cooking dinner in my store kitchen here so we can sit at the table and eat and then get back to like building boxes or labeling jars. Like, so I have found that like with them being older, it's made my life a little bit easier because they're understanding. I pay them to work with me. They come in
that's a
and
bonus.
then they get paid to build boxes or label jars, or my older ones even help stuff jars and get paid for that. Like, so it's as they've gotten older, it's gotten easier. But when they were younger, it was definitely harder. But I think mainly, even not even talking about age of the kids, I feel like, especially, I don't know, I would say women are much better at like getting into a groove and knowing, kind of
Yeah,
like how to make it all work. And once we were able to like find that groove that worked best for our family, and like it was like my kids understand, but I made sure that I was, not separating myself with running the business and then having the family together. So like I said, we had a lot of family dinners here in the store. Just making sure everything like happened, that we were
getting
still
it done
together.
pretty much.
Uh-huh.
But at least
Yeah.
you had that where you were able to, like, y'all did it together. It wasn't like you were stuck doing it solo. So that's also a bonus. And I'm sure it
Mhm.
probably built some of y'all's familial bond a little bit too, for sure.
Mhm. It does.
The
And it gives great
memories,
work ethic. It gives great work ethic for your kids and memories. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. Um, I know earlier you kind of touched on it when you said your Shopify got hacked. And so I wanted to circle
Hmm.
back to that. So you've kind of mentioned, being lied to, taken advantage, like the underestimation, all that stuff. Was there a turning point? Did you ever at any point kind of change how you operated because those things kept happening, like being taken advantage of or those type of things? she,
Definitely.
she said,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I'll tell you, I've always been a blunt person, and I've not,
You no
I
way.
like to say, I like to say, like, I've always been also very like trusting. Um, but I am one of those people that like, I'm gonna trust you, but then you screw me over one time and I'm done. Like I'm not one of those who's gonna like it's gonna keep happening. So I definitely take every single thing that has happened to me and have learned a lesson from it and changed a little bit or tweaked a little bit here or tweaked a little bit there how I run my business after like
Yeah.
every single time. Um, I feel like things happen to us for the very reason of teaching us,
A
and putting
blessing
us in
or a
check.
lesson.
Yes, yes, 100%. And so I can honestly say the biggest thing that I have taken away from the experiences that I've gone through that have been like pretty horrific, is I'm self accountability, I guess is really the best thing to say. It's self accountability. It really all has fallen on myself, and getting comfortable with when I've been growing, it was easy for me to get comfortable with trusting, trusting the bookkeeper is doing their job and I don't need to look at the books.
Yeah.
Trusting that the business consultant is
You
is not,
assumed they would
you
do their
know,
job.
right, right. And I got comfortable with thinking I don't need to have my hand in that because I pay people to do it. And so I learned a lot of lesson through each one that I myself need to, even though I don't, know those things, and even though I'm focused on this or this, I need to learn that, and I need to pay attention to it. So,
Yeah.
like, I really can say my biggest lesson has always been self accountability to myself to be sure that I'm not just, like when the bookkeeper sends my P&L statements, I make myself look at them, I make myself understand them, because I didn't before. I got really royally screwed over and almost cost me everything. So I do, I have totally learned and changed. The number one thing I've changed is to be more in tune with every aspect of my business, even though I don't like it or even though I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I force myself to get,
It
stay involved.
it comes down to that trust but verify, and I learned that in the military. You can
Hmm.
always trust what somebody
Hmm.
tells you but verify it for yourself. And like you said,
100%.
understanding it is key. I never cared to understand how QuickBooks worked or anything like that. And I'm so glad that my accountant walked me through how to read a P&L report, how to read all of these
Hmm.
things, because education is so important when you're keeping track of
Hmm.
those things, especially as a small business. And
Hmm.
I mean, I even talked about it on a podcast not too long ago, was the um, sales tax. So I don't know how it is for you in Tennessee, but in Florida, we have to pay every month the sales tax. And I didn't know that as a product based business at the time. And so, of course, you got hit with like all the penalties and all that stuff when you finally do learn it. And my accountant walked
Hmm.
me through on, oh, that's due the 18th of every month. So set yourself an alarm and do it the 15th. And she's like, it's really easy. Just do it like this. But I didn't know that. It's not
Hmm.
like when you go open an
Hmm.
LLC, they're like, hey, here's the how to handbook on what you need to do next. News to
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
So I think that
Yeah.
is probably the biggest thing I've learned is, yeah, educate yourself and learn the next steps, or you're going to be lost.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think a big part of it too is also really learning to ebb and flow. Like you can't it's not for someone who has to have like structure, like has to be like
Yeah.
this, like everything has to be like this, because
Good luck.
everything is like this, like yeah. It's like I will have my day plan and it will completely go to shit because of something, and I like have to just pivot and be like, okay, we got to deal with this shit. I can't get
Yeah.
upset. I can't. It's just like, well, we'll try to get to that tomorrow. But I think that definitely the whole like it's all over the place, because like just when you think like talking about the sales tax, I didn't know about that either.
Horrible.
I learned also. I learned also, but then I learn, right? And I pay monthly in
Yeah.
Tennessee. I learn, but then what I've just recently learned? Now I got to pay in every damn state that like I've met their threshold. So like, with growth, you're still constantly like it never ends. It never ends. There's always something that you're figuring out and learning, and you have to be able to just pivot with it. Like,
Dang.
I literally had to hire a company that just does my taxes. Like my bookkeeper is like, we only do Tennessee. So I had to go hire a company that monitors and manages all of the states that I ship to. And every state is, I'm learning every state is different threshold. This one is how much
Different
you have
rates
in
for the
sales and orders. This
yeah.
one, it's how many numbers of orders. Yeah. And it's crazy. And I'm just over here with my head spinning, like, because I'm like, I need to know these things. I need to know these things because that's my discipline to myself that I've learned my lesson on is I have to be involved and know these things. But my head's spinning. I'm like, oh my God, like this is a
See, I didn't
lot.
even know that if you hit a threshold in another state, I just thought it had to do with where you lived. The more you know.
Mm. Yeah, I learned there's like several states that are mailing me letters to my house, like you
You
owe
owe me money.
filings for this long, and I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm like, what? Yeah, yeah,
She's like, hold on, I don't
it's fun.
hold on. Dang, that's well, I mean, I guess that's at least you know you're doing well then. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess you could take
yeah,
it in that aspect. But yeah, I'm something new I learned today. But yeah, I remember when we were
yeah.
getting all those letters from the Florida Revenue Department, I was like, oh my God, leave me alone. Because I didn't understand.
Mm,
I just thought it was like, at first I thought it was junk mail. I'm like, I paid my taxes, thinking federal taxes. And that was just ignorant of me. But I didn't know. And so
mm-hmm,
it just kept looking like, I'm like, why are these people asking me for money? Like, I'm so confused. And it sounds ignorant now, but I just truly didn't know. And then those, like, I think it's like a $50 penalty here, but it builds up. And then you also get charged the interest and all that stuff. But luckily,
mm-hmm,
I had an accountant who educated me and she walked me through on how to get like a first time abatement and all that stuff to like kind of help waive some of
mm-hmm.
those fees. So we were just ended up being responsible for the interest. But it's like even that, if she didn't tell me that I could call and contest that, essentially I would have just paid it because I don't know, I'm not trying to get in trouble with the Department of Revenue. you know i'm
Right,
just
right.
i'm just trying to live. So it's
And that's where it goes to what you and I are saying that if you're educating yourself, if
yeah,
you're making sure you're involved in everything you're doing, and
it's one of the main
it's
reasons
what you
that I
have to.
started
You
I
have to.
started my women's networking group, and I also started this podcast is to be an educational platform because so many people don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. So until it happens to you or someone else comes across it, there's no reason for you to know it or be educated on it. And that was really something I really take my networking group and educate or try and talk about an important topic. I know at some point I want to have my accountant come there and speak because I think that people need to be educated on that. Everybody should
Mm-hmm.
understand those simple things. You might not be there now, but you're going to get there if you're running a business. Well, that's the hope. And so to just be aware of it before it happens and slaps you in the face is just way better. And I wish I had a
100%
how-to
true.
guide. like,
We all wish. We all wish.
yeah,
And I think that there's also kind of the perception. I feel like that like it's amazing what you're doing and putting this out here to help teach these things to people who and entrepreneurs and women who have no idea what to expect or what's going to happen. But there's also I think the misconception of like, okay, well, I know these things, you can teach all these things, but the reality is there's still going to be something that's going to happen that
yeah,
no, like it's not happened to someone there, it's like, it's why it's so important, like what you've created for the whole networking with, being able to, because something always happens. Something always comes up that something nobody else has experienced, or you're like, seriously, like I never would have thought. And so
right,
having that network connection is amazing because it's not just there's not just a rule book. It's not. There's constantly new chapters being added all the time.
isn't
New
there?
pages are being written every minute, every day. There's always something, and I wish that when I started this, I wish that I had more of a connection, of other business women that I could, talk to and ask questions. For me, when I started, when I, especially with the food truck, when I started growing in was the food truck, it was a lot of like competition,
Yeah,
because it was like you're, you're taking from my pocket, like you're over here selling all your damn cakes and nobody wants to come buy my tacos or, just like whatever. And I was always just like, hey, like there's like we can work together,
Yeah,
So
get a
I
cake
wish that
and
I
a
had,
taco. Like,
yeah, right.
make a
But I
bundle.
wish I had those connections to go to and like, like be able to talk about the ins and the outs and know things and like I because I think that even when you think that you have experienced it all, something else happens. And
And
you're like, really? Like, seriously?
And even going back to your saying you wish you had more of the connections, I know, like you, for example, you told me about the Entrepreneurship Center. Like, why are we
Hmm.
not educated more about these resources that are there to help you? Um, because and it's crazy that I remember when I told you, you told me about it, and I was like, no, I've never heard of it. And since I've presented, I've gone to the meetings, like it's gone well, it's been a great resource. And since every single
Hmm.
person, I shit you not, every single person I tell about this center to looks at me like I have three heads. That I've never heard of it. And it's right in Tampa, which is like our biggest city. And I mean, they
At your
have
fingertips.
several other ones, and they're like, oh, and it's free. That's the biggest part. Everyone's like, oh, do I have to pay to be there? Those types of things. But everyone sure as hell knows about like BNI or paid memberships. So it's like
Hmm.
it's crazy to me that it's not like you're paying for it with your taxes. It's a county run program. So use it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so when I tell everybody about it or I'm talking about it, it like blows their mind. And it blows my mind too, because I'm like, wow. So I'm not like, I didn't feel as bad because I didn't know about it. But even you said you hadn't heard about it when you were told about it. So that's also
Yeah.
my next mission right now is just telling everybody about it because it's a great resource.
Yeah.
It's a great way to talk to people who have done the entrepreneurship journey. It's a great way to go hear how other people pitch. The most beneficial part for me was like the Q&A, hearing other people's Q&A and seeing how they answer questions. And I
Hmm.
might not have thought about that for my own business.
Hmm.
And it's just crazy to me that it's not like front and center first thing people talk about when it comes to entrepreneurship. So thank you for that.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why, I wish that I had a lot of that in the beginning. I didn't know about that stuff till later, that's why like what you're doing is great because it's just, I think the biggest thing is just there's so much out there
Yeah.
and there's, like I said, like so many different things happen as a business owner. And, and it's not even like, not even just a business. If you look at like parenting too, like we've always said, it takes a village to raise a child, because
Yeah.
the reality is there's so much that, it's by a community, it's by a community together that you're able to know things you would have never known or, control things you couldn't control or, do things. So I think it all really kind of goes hand in hand, business and parenting.
And that's why my whole thing is like come for like essentially come for the vibes and stay for the sisterhood and then
Hmm.
collaboration over competition because it truly is that. I
Hmm.
say competition happens at the bottom, but collaboration happens at the top. So if you want to be at the top, you better learn how to collaborate because there's no reason
Hmm.
like that there's enough for everybody to eat. And it's crazy to
Hmm.
me that people like that's how you can kind of tell people's character. They'll be the first to kick you down if
Hmm.
they see you coming up. And that's crazy to me. Like I want
They're
to lift
threatened
you
by
up
you.
with
Yeah.
me and we can both go together.
Mhm. Right. Right. 100%. I agree. I felt that way a lot all through my whole experience of starting up and going. It's like you can tell the ones who are out to stab you in the back and it's unfortunate because all you want to do is just rise up together, you know?
Yeah.
Um
And something I
there's a
talked
lot of
about
that.
was one example I always use is like either photographers or realtors because there's so many of them. However,
Hmm.
if you have two, three, four, whatever in the room and you each go over like, hey, these are my strengths and these are my weaknesses, not all four of you are not going to have the same strengths and weaknesses. Figure out how you can use each other and learn from each other because
Hmm.
I promise you, you don't know everything there is about real estate And if you do,
Mm-hmm.
good for you, but you're lying. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like figure out how you can learn from each other. So if you have a like person in the
Mm-hmm.
room, ask that person, okay, what is your strength and how can I use that? And then my strength is this. Like I always tell everybody, like my strength right now, I'd say is like social media and bringing people together. How can I like connect you to somebody else? But my weakness is like if I'm working, my weakness is reach. Like I'm good at social media and marketing, but my weakness is still numbers. So I'm trying to work
Mm-hmm.
with people who have bigger reach. And also I'm newer in the game than a lot of these other people. Like I could learn a lot from somebody doing a podcast for years or,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Even this, like this is very innovative doing a virtual podcast this way. A lot of people do them using like Zoom or just some sort of video platform. But I
Mm-hmm.
learned from my other friends that I see doing very well on TikTok Live, just talking about their product. I'm like, you know what? It records and saves everything. I'm going to record my podcast on here and then it introduces you to my audience and me to your audience. And it's a win win
Mm-hmm.
for both of us. And we both get out in front of more people. And now I have the video and audio to distribute across my platforms. So I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
actually more people doing podcasts aren't doing this, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad about it because I get to do it. But I
Right.
learned that from talking to other people, like about how they get their reach. And they were like, I go on TikTok Live. I said, noted, let me use that. And I think people just don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to use other people's strengths. They would rather just step on
Mm-hmm.
you to be better. I hate it.
I agree.
Like,
I
I
do
hate
too.
it.
I'm with you on that one. I just don't understand the need for it. It's a big world,
It's just
you know, and
nasty.
so much more gets accomplished when you work together.
Yeah. And that's with anything. I mean, and you can apply that to literally anything. I mean, two is better than one always.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even yesterday when we were figuring out that, because I did my first like live version of this yesterday when we were figuring it out, we figured it out together, me
Mm-hmm.
and the other person. So it was a two-person happened way faster than if I was trying to figure it out myself. So it's just even little examples like that. It's I don't know. Women are so catty sometimes, and men,
I
but
agree. Men can be too, but yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't know if it's like just a society that just like turns people into being that way or what, you know.
I think that
I
has
don't
a
know.
lot to do
I
with it.
always felt like yeah, I think so too, you know, because like I've had situations in my business in the beginning and as I've grown where like I'm at events or something and someone will come up to me and they'll be like, well, you're like so nice. And like I was always intimidated and thought you'd be like a, stuck up bitch and I'm like,
I get that
what?
all the
Like,
time.
why would you think that, and I'm like, I'm like the most, I will give you the shirt off my back kind of person,
Yeah.
like, hey, like, now don't come at me and tell me you want my recipe. I'm not going to give you my recipe. But, if you come to me and you ask me like questions to help you grow or experiences I've gone through, or I'll give you connections, I have no problem like sharing
Yeah.
knowledge and help, but, I don't know. I think it's like a society thing. It's like, I just, not getting into politics or nothing, but I just do feel like something's happened in this world today that people feel so much more competitive than is necessary.
Yeah. What on a lighter note, do you have like a funny story about something that's happened like in business that we don't necessarily would see online, or like just something funny that's happened, like whether it be like behind the scenes or maybe with your kids? She's like, I'm thinking.
There's like so many.
Pick
I'm like trying to
one.
think which ones have I not posted. Trying to think like which ones have I not posted. Um uh I mean it's constantly around here. I really like to keep things light. I really
Yeah.
do. I have an amazing team right now and two of the new guys had a lot of fun at one of our recent videos we just posted where I would say that I see some funny shit from crazy people, okay? Like the things that we see in the emails, on the voicemails,
Oh, I'm sure those are
on the
wild.
ads running, and so I try to make light of all of it instead of taking personal and getting, like, because you take it personal because like you work your ass off, and then
Yeah.
somebody's like, their cakes are terrible. They show up dry and the ice is melted, or but the recent one was the guy that was like he commented that he had sent me an email and he was like, I'm never recommending your product. My cakes came melted. There was no ice packs and how do you ship food like that? And I'm just kind of like laughing because I'm like, if you go to the grocery store, okay, do you see Twinkies in a fucking fridge or a freezer section? Like, do you see cupcakes? Like, I can't tell you how many times I walk in the Kroger and there's cupcakes just sitting there for who knows how long out
Yeah.
on a table, or even Walmart. And these people are freaking out about me shipping cake jars without ice. So, anyways, I just, so we like to have a lot of fun with that. And that's where we get a lot of the fun around here is the behind the scenes
You have
of
to laugh.
talking
Like, you
about
have to laugh.
yeah, yeah, but like our biggest laughter is like the behind the scenes, I would say, of, me coming in and being like, you're not gonna believe what this person said last night on this ad, or what this comment was, or what this email was. And so like I will tell the team and we're all like, just like scratching our heads and laughing and and then I'm like, let's do a video about this, and
Yeah.
so like yesterday or day before yesterday when I'm like, so this guy is on here, he sends me this email and I'm like, yo, like your cakes are not melted. Those cakes look great. You can actually see the layers. Now there's one that is shook up and I was like, but that's not melted. First of all, you're in Delaware and it's not hot. And so
It's for
I was like,
real.
that's totally shook up, and that happens. I'm sorry, I can't stop UPS from chucking the fucking boxes all over the place. So I was like, so after that email, he went and commented on one of our videos, where we thought it would be fun to like grab all the cake jars and throw them in a box and like see how many, like, guess how many we threw in. And he commented, he's like, well, that's how it looks like you boxed my order. So I came in and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have fun with this one, And so I think a lot of the like funny stuff that happens around here is kind of like our behind the scenes
Yeah.
of how we talk and what we do, and like how we like to come up with like our sarcastic, like witty responses to some of the like outrageous people. And I mean, there's just always fun shit going. There's always shit going on around here. Like one of my girls, Jen and I, we were literally just talking about the other day. She was reminiscing how she was so scared on her first day she was going to get fired because she was operating my big mixer. I have like the big 80 quart mixers,
Jeez.
and I was showing her how to like I think we were making cake batter or something. And I was like teaching her how to operate it and stuff. And she had put something in and turned it on and it was on high and the fucking shit went everywhere. It was all over me. Like I was covered. She took a photo. She was like, can I take a photo of this? I was like, yes. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's good. It's all good. Like all of us will end up wearing
Makes for
cake,
good content.
flour, like yeah, and so she actually brought that up just the other day in the kitchen because I don't know, something had happened that like somebody's always doing so. Like one time I was washing the dishes and the I like was trying to like hold the water hose between my leg and do something else with my hand. I think I had cake batter on my hand or something, and I didn't want to get it all over the hose handle. And next thing you know, the hose is like slinging all over the place with the water on, and I'm soaking my other girls. Like they're just one of them standing there, just kind of like
Like, what?
and she got the most wet. And the other one is like trying to grab the thing and stop it. So like, I mean, we have like, there's always chaos,
Yeah.
there's just like always
Controlled
chaos,
chaos.
controlled
That's
chaos.
the key.
Yeah, I always just feel like I like to just make everything fun and light.
Yeah, that's one of my
There's no
favorite
point in getting
things.
mad.
Yeah, like that's one of my favorite things that I always enjoyed about talking with you is you just really you keep it real and you just make me laugh. So,
Yeah, thanks,
but
thanks.
But yeah, I had to end it on that lighter note, but I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you what kind of one more question for if anyone is listening right now and they kind of feel stuck or underestimated, what would be your like best piece of advice that you would tell?
Stay strong. Don't give up. Seriously, I will tell you some real truth. There have been so many times that I have literally sat on the floor, and I keep pointing because I'm pointing like my kitchen is on the other side of me. I have literally sat on the floor and cried my fucking eyes out.
Wow.
Just meltdown, just complete meltdown. Um, but I have to stand back up and keep going. Like you just don't give up. Like don't see success in someone and think that it is easy because it's not, and I've made a post about this. I try to like really iterate this. People, because of social media and people see only the green grass, and they're like, oh, she's so successful and she's doing so well and she's making money. And it's like, let me tell you something. First of all that money comes in, all that money goes out,
Yeah.
like it's a truth. It's a true reality. And it's like, it really takes a long time to get to that point where you're not having to be the one that's in here all the time, or you're not having to, you do get to like take off and not worry about paying for things. um I'm 5 years in with this business, and it's had major ups and downs. It's never easy, and even when it looks 100% successful, there is still organized chaos going on. There's still always things happening that, like, I literally have had probably 3 meltdowns in the last few weeks, over labels, over fucking
I saw your
labels.
video.
I am telling you, I have had meltdowns over that because, not everything goes smooth, not everything goes right. And so I have to say my number one advice is to don't give up. Know that shit is going to happen, and you just have to keep going. You just work through it. You just, you take the moment, you learn from it, you find different things to make it work. You got to like I said, you got to constantly pivot. You have to constantly be willing to go a different way. Like, I am used to things being one way, and I have to learn, accept that today they're going to be like this,
Hmm.
and it's hard, and I have meltdowns over it. No lie, but just don't give up. You just stay strong and don't give up, and make sure you don't isolate yourself. Don't, I'll admit, I'll be the first to admit, I'm very guilty of, at the end of my day, I want to go home and cook dinner and sit down and just spend time with my kids and Netflix and chill with my husband. Like, that's, I don't want to go out and socialize in networking groups or people. I don't want to
Hmm.
people. So, I have to remind myself I'm not going to go nowhere like that. Like, I
Yeah.
have to get out. I have to do that. So I have to reach out. So I would say it's okay to have your time, but also don't forget to not isolate yourself and like be in like your network connections. Go to your events where you're having, the women just come and vibe out. Like, it's important to remember to do that, because it's really important to remember that you cannot do this by yourself. You need
100%.
people. You need a support system. You need a friend that you can like call up and like, I'm having a fucking meltdown today over labels, like you need somebody that you can do that to. And so my absolute advice is stay strong, don't give up, um, pivot how you need to pivot, and be sure that you really build your community support system. Like, have people that you can go to. Don't do it alone, because you can't do it alone.
Well, Lord knows I called you when I had to have when I needed some advice. So,
I know. I know. We all have to,
yeah.
and I know, and you were worried about my time, and I'm like, fuck no, like, thank you, because I need that time. Like, if,
Yeah.
you don't even realize how much of a favor you're doing for me as well, to connect and be able to step outside of this world and
Outside of
remember
liquor
that
cakes.
there's,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so important, and that's my biggest advice is, it's don't think that it's perfect for someone else.
Mm,
I look successful, and I do have a good successful business, but I'm not gonna lie, I thought I would be a fucking multi-millionaire with this shit. Here I am 5 years later, struggling to pay my damn bills, and it's like my credit cards are maxed because in order to grow,
yeah,
you have to you have to take risk, and it
bigger
pays
risk,
out. It
bigger
does
reward.
pay. Yeah. And it pays. I've not had one time that I've not like put myself in a really tough financial position and it not pay off, it not take me to that next level with my business. So, it's just you really have to stick to it. It's not for the light. It's very, it's very hard,
I
but I
think,
think it's like anything in life.
yeah, I was going to say that, like, just based on what you said, I say that all the time. Life is not all about the highlight reels. Like on social media, that's all you see.
Hmm.
And you don't see the
Hmm.
lows. And that is a huge target in part of my podcast is I talk about the lows because I think people need to hear that to know you're not crazy and to know you're not alone. And there's other people going
Hmm.
through it. There's a reason that not everybody is an entrepreneur. It's hard. It's not there, nothing is easy
Hmm.
about it.
Hmm.
People, my favorite thing to say
Hmm.
to anybody right now is people love to be like, "Oh, must be nice to go have a drink at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday." Yeah, but you don't see what I'm doing at 2 a.m. on Monday through
Right.
Sunday. And so, yeah, I
Right.
mean, it has its perks, don't get me wrong, but it also has has the work, and you got to be willing to do the work to get the
Hmm.
perks.
Exactly.
So, that's my biggest thing.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to pretty much wrap up by telling or you tell everybody where they can find you and where they can order these amazing cakes, and then yeah, we'll go from there.
Awesome. First, I want to just say thank you for having me because this was awesome. I'm really glad that you hit me up for this. I like being able to share to help others as well. And I like you said, I really like people to know there are lows. It's not just all highs. So, thanks for that opportunity to share that and,
Of course.
allow people to see true, like, this is me and real. I'm a real person just like everybody else,
She's like, I'm not
and
just Lulu Liquor
I'm
Cakes. I'm Laura as well.
I'm not.
And that's the
Yes,
other part. But yeah, I mean, you've kept it
yeah,
real, you've kept it funny, unapologetically yourself, and that's really what I love to do. But carry on.
yeah. Yeah. So with that, we love for everybody to check us out. Our website is lululiquorcakes.com, Lulu liquor like QURCAKES.com. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're not very active on TikTok. I literally just had somebody say that the other day, like, are you still like alive? Because you haven't posted anything in, like months. So I'm not a
I
social
noticed that too.
person. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, it's just a lot to keep up with, especially when you're trying to do everything else. So I'll try to remember to do better about that. But you can find us on most active. I'm on Facebook. I'm the most active on Facebook and Instagram because thankfully you can post on one and it posts on both. But we're on website. We're on the socials, and you can order. The best way to order is through the website. You can subscribe to our email list, which is great because we do new flavor drops every week, so you can be in the know of what's happening. We've been having this. We have it going until the end of October. We have our 8 Nights of Indulgence Halloween box right now. I've been super stoked for that. It's been selling like crazy. We did really cool custom labels on them, and they're all different flavors that you would normally get on its weekly drop. And so you can get all of those right now. Um, and we got a lot of really great flavors coming up for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I don't even know what we're doing yet. The marketing team is supposed to be telling me Thursday. So I don't even know what they got going, but they're going to be doing some
Surprise!
really big Black Friday thing and Christmas thing, and I'll know when we get there. But yeah, so you can just subscribe to email, SMS, website, Google us.
And
We're
listen,
all over.
it truly is like it sounds just so unique, like a liquor cake. I say to anybody and they're like, what? Just try it. Like
Yeah.
it really is. It's not like you taste it and you're drinking a drink. Like I think people are scared about that. Like it truly is just like a little, like
Hmm.
a pick me up, I'd say, like a quick little hit of
Hmm.
dopamine or, whatever. And it truly is, because that's what surprised me the most is it wasn't nasty like a drink sometimes is like, oh, that's too much. But it was very
Hmm.
delicious, and very moist. I don't know who these people are that are telling you it's dry, but that's crazy.
We say the same thing. We put the cakes in the jar, and I'm like, this is. I like what you say though, like how you say it, that little bit of dopamine. Because I will end it with this. It's like the number one questions that we get are, do you taste the liquor? Do you get drunk off of them? And so I like that you say that it's like that little bit of dopamine, because my favorite way to describe it is it's like when you take a shot and you get that warm tingling sensation, and you
Yeah.
get that kind of like you said, kind of like that little dopamine from taking like a shot of drink. And so, because they are 3% ABV, but we have had people say they have got drunk on them. We have had people say they got buzzed on them, and we have had people say there is absolutely no liquor in them. So it's just, I think it's all everybody's metabolism is different. Everybody's
Mhm.
like, if you don't ever drink versus if you're a drinker all the time, it's just everybody's, it's all, subjective, because everybody's taste buds are different. Everybody
100%. Yeah.
is, how things hit them are different, but they are 3% ABV. And I like to say they, it's more of just like you said, that little bit of dopamine, just kind of like when you take a shot, you just get that warm, tingly feeling. Like you're going to realize the liquor is there.
Yeah.
But we do a really good balance of the liquor is, flavoring our cakes. So we get that, you're getting more of a balance of like, not just a cocktail at the bar, it's
Exactly.
liquor in
It's
a
like
cake.
having
So,
it. Yeah, it's a sweet treat, or like the same hit you get if you're gonna eat and have something indulgent that you enjoy. Like for me, it just like instantly will lift my mood, and that's what I noticed. It wasn't
mhm,
like, oh, you get drunk or anything like that. I mean, and yeah, some of
mhm,
them I'd say I would taste it more than others, but I think that is goes to what you said. It's the type of alcohol that was in the cake. So that would be the
mhm,
only thing I would
mhm.
say. But definitely try it if you're
Yeah.
scared to. But yeah, with that, I want to say thank you again for just joining me and taking this adventure with me. It was really great to hear you, the more personal side of Laura instead of the business side. But that's really is what the Natasha Effect is about. So, for everyone listening, I want to remind you that you create your own effect in the world, and that is what this is about. And that's it. So
Thank
we'll go ahead and
you.
end this here, and I'll stay in touch with you, Laura. But it was super good to hear from you, and I hope that you stay booked and busy.
Thank you, Natasha. And I'm so
You're
excited to
welcome.
see you growing. So this is awesome.
Thank you. All
You're
right.
doing a great thing.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's good to talk with you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.